Hello everyone. Last time we have explained about various cell theories to support the discovery of the cells or the origin of the cells. Today we are going to explain next point, that is characteristics of the cells. So following are the various essential characteristics of the cells. The first one, cell provide the structural and support to the body of an organism. Cells provides the structure and support to the body of an organism. So whatever the plants, animals or the microorganisms which are derived from the cells or which are composed of cells. So whatever the body, that is morphology, anatomy, physiology, whatever the structural features or the characters of the living organism that are derived from the cells, and thus cell provide the structure. So whatever the body of organisms that is composed of cells. Then cells also providing the support to the body of an organism. Then the cell interior is organized into a different individual organelles surrounded by a separate membrane. So individual cell or a separate cell, a single cell having the structure that is composed of the outermost covering, that is the plasma membrane, and that will enclose the cytoplasm and several cytoplasmic organelles or the structures together with the nucleus and the nucleoplasm inside. So whatever the structures present inside of the cell that are consisting of separate or individual organelles and which are surrounded by the separate membranes. So these are the membrane bounded structures. There are several or a large number of membrane bounded structures or the cell organelles present inside of the cells, and cells are thus composed of the cytoplasm or the nucleoplasm containing number of membrane bound structures in the form of cell organelles. Then the nucleus, which is also present in the interior of the cells, which forms a major organelle and contains or holds the genetic information which is necessary for the process of reproduction and the cell growth, or whatever the biological functions of the cell that are carried under the influence of genetic information or the genes or the chromosomes, which are solely responsible for not only for the reproduction or cell growth, but whatever the activities, all the activities performed by the cells or the tissues of the living organism that are carried, that are performed under the influence of the nucleus, because nucleus is containing the genetic material in the form of chromosomes, a definite number of chromosomes, that is two set of the chromosomes or the diploid set of the chromosomes, and that are contained into the nucleus. So the nucleus forms a major organelle, and since it is having a genetic information in the form of chromosomes or a definite number of chromosomes which are necessary or essential for the entire control or the governance of the cell activities, or even the different tissues or the organs or the systems, whatever the functions altogether performed by the respective system or the tissue or even the cells uh, that are under the influence of the genetic information or the genetic material which is present in the nucleus. So nucleus is a governing authority or a controlling unit of the cells, and thus is necessary for the process of uh, the growth or development of the cells and even the process of propagation, that is reproduction. Then every cell has one nucleus and membrane bound organelles in the cytoplasm. Every cell, whatever the cells, nucleated cells having in the nucleus, every cell is having one nucleus. Usually there is only one nucleus in the cell, and uh, possessing number of membrane bounded organelles or the cell organelles present in the cytoplasm. So usually there is only one nucleus in the cell. There are certain cells or the organisms may have two or more nuclei. There are certain organisms, for example, in case of paramecium, there are two nuclei, that is micronucleus and meganucleus. So there are certain organisms or the certain cells which may have more than one nucleus, but usually there is only one nucleus in the cell, and possessing large number of membrane bound structures or the cell organelles so as to carry out various biological functions of the cell in and that are present in the cytoplasm. Then another characteristic, that is mitochondria. So presence of mitochondria in the cells, which is a important cell organelle having a double membrane covering. So outer membrane, which is forming the outermost covering, and inner membrane will form the cristae or the folds, number of folds, uh, forming a cristae, that is again containing the dotted or studded structures called as F1 particles, which are meant for the energy synthesis or the energy metabolism. So mitochondria, which are the double membrane bound cell organelles and is mainly responsible for the energy transactions or the energy synthesis or energy metabolism, and it is the vital for the survival of the cell. So the mitochondria are mainly responsible for the energy transactions or the energy metabolism or the energy synthesis, and which is the vital function, for the survival of the cells and is performed only by the mitochondria. So it is very important cell organelle, called even it is called as a powerhouse of cell, since it provides energy. So whatever the biological functions performed by the cells, which needs the energy, and that will be produced and supplied by the mitochondria only, and thus is called as a powerhouse of cells. Then another characteristic, that is lysosomes, that is another important cell organelle, which is also present in the cytoplasm of the cells and which is responsible for the digestion of unwanted materials or undesired substances, maybe toxins, whatever waste products or the waste materials or unwanted materials, whenever present in the cytoplasm, that are destroyed or digested or neutralized by the lysosomes. So lysosomes are also the important cell organelles, membrane bound cell organelles, possessing different type of hydrolytic enzymes or the digestive enzymes, which are having capacity of digestion or neutralization of the undesired substances of the cytoplasm of the cell. So whenever the lysosomes breaks off, releasing the hydrolytic enzymes, and that will neutralize or dissolve or hydrolyze unwanted substances, or even uh, are having the ability to neutralize or to disintegrate all the components of the cells. Whatever the components present in the cytoplasm, that can be hydrolyzed by the lysosomal enzymes, and thus the structure lysosome is also called as the suicidal bags of the cells. Suicidal bags of the cells, because the secretions or the stored components in the lysosome are having capacity of hydrolyzing the all components or the contents of the cytoplasm of the cells, and thus called as a suicidal bags of the cells, that can lead to the autolysis, self-killing mechanism of the cells, and that is uh, due to presence of lysosomes in the cytoplasm. Then endoplasmic reticulum, which are again laminated or folded, having cavities or the cavities inside, having cavities or a space inside between the lamellae or the cisternae, and these structures, complex structures of the cisternae having laminated membranes or the membrane bounded organelles called as endoplasmic reticulum, which may be either uh, rough endoplasmic reticulum or a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So due to presence of dotted spots or the structures on the surface of lamellae or the cisternae of the endoplasmic reticulum, it appears to be rough and thus is called as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and which plays important role in the process of protein synthesis. So endoplasmic reticulum playing a significant role in the internal organization of the cell by synthesizing selective molecules, that is synthesis of the proteins and its processing also, or directing or sorting them to the appropriate locations. So endoplasmic reticulum is mainly responsible for the process of protein synthesis. So rough endoplasmic reticulum. Then smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that is also responsible for either storage of these substances or processing and directing or sorting, and then supplying them to the different parts of the cell or even to the different parts of the body for their utilization or for its actual use. So endoplasmic reticulum is also very important uh, cell organelle, playing the important role or a significant role in the internal organization of the cell, as it synthesizes the selective molecules or the proteins and also the processing, directing and the sorting them to their appropriate locations. So this is about the characteristics of the cells. Then we'll explain a little bit regarding the general organization of the cells. General organization of the cells, that is highlights the of the cell structure and its components. Cell structure and its components. That is a point related with the general organization or the description regarding the uh, general structure or general organization of the cells. So we know the each and every cell is having uh, certain main components such as a cell membrane, cell wall, cell organelles. So when we broadly explain the structure of cells, having a membrane covering that will enclose various components or the materials of the cells, that is a plasma membrane or a cell membrane. So cell membrane or a plasma membrane. Then second component, that is a cell wall, which is found only in the plant cells. So to the outside, the outermost surface of the plant cells, outermost surface of the plant cells is composed of a cell wall. So which is a, composed of the cellulose material. So that is a complex type of carbohydrate. So that will form the main component of the cell wall, which is a membrane or a covering, outermost covering of the cell of the plant cells. So that is cell wall. So animal cells will have only a cell membrane or the plasma membrane, and plant cells are having cell wall. Even the prokaryotic cell, that is bacterial cells, will also have the cell wall and the plasma membrane. So cell wall is present in prokaryotic cells or the bacterial cells and also in a plant cells. So cell wall is found among the plant cells and the bacterial cells, and cell membrane or the plasma membrane only found in the animal cells. So animal cells lack the cell wall. So there is a lack of or absence of cell wall in case of animal cells. So this is about just a membrane covering, that is the cell membrane or the plasma membrane and the cell wall. Then cell organelles, which are present in the uh, cytoplasm or whatever the fluid material, semi-fluid or semi-liquid, semi-liquid or semi-solid substance, semi-liquid or semi-solid substance, whatever enclosed inside of the plasma membrane or the cell membrane or cell wall, called as a cytoplasm. So cytoplasm containing several cell organelles, that is in the form of structures, membrane bound structures or the membraneless structures. Membrane bound structures, that is the cell or important cell organelles, and even there are certain membraneless structures are also present as a solid components in the cytoplasm of the cells. So cell organelles includes nucleolus, which is present a conspicuous round structure present in the nucleoplasm or in the nucleus. So nucleolus, then nuclear membrane, which is the covering membrane of the nucleus. Then endoplasmic reticulum, that is again another important cell organelle, which is having the lamellae or cisternae and having a complex structure possessing the double membrane covering and enclosing a space, that is interlamellar space. So the endoplasmic reticulum is having a lamellae, or it can represent the structure similar to the stack of lamellae, and all of the lamellae of the stack of lamellae are interconnected with one another. So whatever the space present inside, that is continuous or communicating throughout the endoplasmic reticulum and enclosing a fluid containing different proteins or the enzymes, whatever are produced by the endoplasmic reticulum itself. So that are stored inside the space. So there is a continuous space present inside of the cisternae of the endoplasmic reticulum and which are communicating with one another. So that is endoplasmic reticulum. Then Golgi bodies or Golgi complexes. This is also a structure representing the structure similar to endoplasmic reticulum, but it is having the cisternae having somewhat plate shape or a saucer shape together with vacuoles and the vesicles which are present at the two ends of the cisternae or a lamellae of the Golgi complexes. Golgi complexes are supposed to be related or concerned with the function of the lipid synthesis and even the storage of the materials or the export of the materials, whatever in the form of proteins or enzymes synthesized by smooth endoplasmic reticulum, then or rough endoplasmic reticulum, then stored in smooth endoplasmic reticulum, from where these are exported towards the surface of the cell through the Golgi complexes also. So endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, then Golgi bodies, which are the important components of the cell cytoplasm and are mainly responsible for the synthesis of or the metabolism of the proteins, then lipids and even carbohydrates also. Then ribosomes. Ribosomes are the microscopic structures, membraneless structures present inside of the cytoplasm of the cells and which are responsible for mainly essential for the process of protein synthesis, as it contains rRNA, ribosomal RNA or rRNA, which is the main component essential for the process of photosynthesis. Sorry, not photosynthesis, it is a protein synthesis. So ribosomes are the membranous structures, membraneless structures, and are present in the cytoplasm and even on the or in a close communication or accompanied with the endoplasmic reticulum, so that the process of protein synthesis will become possible as in case of rough endoplasmic reticulum. So ribosomes are the microscopic structures and which are membraneless structures having variable size on the basis of their molecular weight or the sedimentation coefficient. So ribosomes are also present in the cytoplasm of the cells. Then mitochondria, these are again double membrane bound structures, um, are responsible for the process of energy synthesis or energy metabolism, powerhouse of cells, and which are also important in the cytoplasm of the cells, or most of the cells, they are possessing mitochondria as an important cell organelle for the various type of energy transactions or the energy metabolism. Then lysosomes, these are also membrane bound structures called as suicidal bags of the cells, possessing different enzymes and which are responsible for the neutralization or the hydrolysis of uh, the unwanted substances or the toxins, toxins or waste, whatever are present in the cytoplasm. Then chloroplast which are present only in animal cells. So whatever the plant cells, animal cells lacks the chloroplast. Animal cells lacks in the chloroplast. So chloroplast, which are again and the membrane bound structures, important cell organelle present only in the plant cells, as it is playing the important role in the process of photosynthesis, as they contains the green pigment, that is chlorophyll. So in presence of chlorophyll or in presence of chloroplast, the plant cells or the plants undergoes the process of photosynthesis using the solar energy or sunlight together with carbon dioxide and water, and transforming these components, that is carbon dioxide and water, into the sugars or the carbohydrates. This is what the process of photosynthesis, that is utilization of CO2 and water in presence of sunlight and the chlorophyll pigment. Plants undergoes process of photosynthesis and producing carbohydrates, and thus are called as autotrophic. So plants are autotrophic, and since they can synthesize their own food in the form of carbohydrates by the process of photosynthesis. So chloroplasts, which are present only in the plants, or certain organisms like flagellates. There are certain flagellates which are also having green color and having the ability of process of photosynthesis. So there are some flagellates or algae or the plants which are having chloroplast for the process of photosynthesis. Then vacuoles are present in the animal cells but are of very small size. In case of plants, the vacuoles are of much larger size, that acquires about 70 to 90% of the volume of the cell cytoplasm. So vacuoles are found predominantly among the plants, but not in animals. So vacuoles are also important components present in the cytoplasm of the plants mainly, and these perform the function of the that is regulation of the various unwanted substances, or the undesired substances, whatever when present in the cytoplasm of the plant cells, that are stored into the vacuoles. So vacuoles are of much larger size, and they perform the function of the homeostasis or the regulation of the internal environment, normal physiological condition or the internal environment in case of plant cells. Vacuoles are performing the role of lysosomes. Vacuoles performing the role of lysosomes in the plant cells. So lysosomes are not found among the plant cells. So this particular function is performed by the vacuoles in the plant cells. So these are the some of the cell organelles, that is or the various components of the cell, that is outermost covering in the form of a cell membrane or the plasma membrane, as in present in case of animal cells. In case of plant cells, there is a cell wall in addition, or even in a prokaryotic cell like bacterial cell or E. coli cell, there is also a cell wall. So cell wall is present in prokaryotic cell as well as in a plant cells, but cell wall is absent in the animal cells. So it is the outermost covering of the cells, that is either cell wall or the cell membrane. Then follows the inside of the plasma membrane or the cell wall and plasma membrane, that is the cytoplasm or uh, a semi-liquid or a semi-solid substance or the amorphous substance present inside of the cell or enclosed inside of the cell membrane, and this will contain a large number of components either in the form of membrane bound structures or membraneless structures and even some dissolved substances, that is the cytoplasmic inclusions, cytoplasmic organelles and cytoplasmic inclusions, which are also present in the cytoplasm of the cells. So cytoplasm mainly contains several cell organelles such as nucleus or nucleolus, nucleolus, nuclear membrane, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, mitochondria, lysosomes, chloroplast, vacuoles, all these are the important structures or the cell organelles present in the cytoplasm of the cells. So this is what the a general idea or general information regarding the organization, general organization of the cells. What are the cells? We know the definition of the cell. Cells are the structural and functional or fundamental or basic unit of the living organism. So we'll repeat the same things. Cells are the simplest unit of the matter that is living. So whatever the living entities, that is plants, animals or the microorganisms, which are having a simplest unit or the basic unit or the structural and functional unit called as cells. The two primary kinds of cells are eukaryotic cells, which have a true nucleus containing DNA, and other, that is a prokaryotic cell, which have no true nucleus. And in prokaryotic cells, the DNA is in the form of a coiled mass or a coiled up a region called as a nucleoid. So there are two type of cells. There are two type of cells, that is the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. So prokaryotic cells, in a slide we can see the figure on right side representing a cylindrical cell, long cylindrical or cuboidal cell, rectangular or cuboidal or a cylindrical cell representing the structure of prokaryotic cell or the bacterial cell like E. coli, and which is having a membrane bound covering called as a capsule. So that is just a protein membrane or a covering called as a capsule. Then follows a cell wall just inside to the membrane covering or the capsule. There is a cell wall. So cell wall again follows the cytoplasm, and which contains number of components such as ribosomes or certain other dissolved substances, might be in the form of proteins, fats or carbohydrates together with the ribosomes, and showing a mass of a coiled substance or a coiled mass or the material in the form of DNA representing a nucleoid. And in case of prokaryotic cell or a prokaryotic cells or the primitive cells, these are having primitive nucleus or a simple type of nucleus or a nucleus without nuclear membrane or a nucleus without nuclear membrane. Simply the nuclear material or the DNA material, genetic material, is in the form of coiled mass called as a nucleoid. So that is not a true nucleus. Then the bacterial cell also shows the large number of piles or a flagellum. So there are small ciliated structures called as pilus and the flagellum, which are the supposed to be the organelles responsible for the locomotion or the movement of the cells. So in case of prokaryotic cell, there is a membrane, outermost membrane covering, then follows a cell wall, then again a membrane, and again inside of the plasma membrane there is a matrix representing the cytoplasm. So there is a matrix or a cytoplasm inside of the plasma membrane. So there are three membrane coverings found among the prokaryotic cells, as in case of bacterial cell or E. coli cell. That is outermost covering, that is a capsule consisting of pilus or a small ciliated structures together with a long flagellum representing the locomotory structures or the organelles. Then follows the cell wall similar to the plant cells. Then inside to the cell wall, inside of the cell wall, there is a plasma membrane. Then plasma membrane will enclose a matrix, cytoplasmic matrix or a cytoplasm containing number of substances, that is the ribosomes, then nuclear mass of the DNA representing primitive nucleus or a nucleus without nuclear membrane. So this is the structure of the prokaryotic cell. So there are two type of cells, that is prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells. So the term itself explains its meaning. Pro means first or a primitive. Protos means first. So these cells, these type of cells are originated first. These type of cells are originated first. That is protos or primitive. Then carry on means a nucleus. So the prokaryotic cells are having a primitive carry on or the primitive nucleus. So the cells which are having primitive nucleus called as prokaryotic cells, or the cells which are supposed to be produced first. The cells which are supposed to be produced or formed first called as prokaryotic cells. So these are having a primitive nucleus or a simple type of nucleus without nuclear membrane and consisting of DNA in the form of a coiled mass of the nucleoid, and thus are called as prokaryotic cells. Then second type, that is a eukaryotic cell. U means true, U means true, and carry on means again a nucleus. So the cells which are having a true nucleus, that is a nucleus with a well defined or well developed nuclear membrane. So eukaryotic cells means U means true and carry on means again a nucleus. So eukaryotic cells means the cells which are having true nucleus or a real nucleus or a nuclear material which is bounded by a nuclear membrane, or there is a definite nuclear membrane present around the nuclear material, and thus forming a true nucleus called as eukaryotic cells, as in case of the plants and animals. So the cells, that is plant cells and the animal cells, the plant cells and the animal cells are called as eukaryotic cells, are the examples of the eukaryotic cells. So there are two type of cells such as eukaryotic cells which are having a true nucleus or the nucleus with a definite nuclear membrane containing DNA or the chromosomes containing chromatin material or the genetic material in the and possessing the genes, and second type of cells, that is prokaryotic cells, which are without true nucleus. There is simply a nuclear mass containing a coiled component of the DNA. So in prokaryotic cells, the DNA is coiled up in a central region or a portion of the cytoplasmic matrix called as a nucleotide. Then another figure on the left side, we can see the cross section of the eukaryotic cell, possessing the plasma membrane to the outermost as outermost covering, that is the plasma membrane. Then the Golgi complexes, lysosomes, secretory vesicles, then ribosomes, even smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, then mitochondria. So these are the various components present in the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cells. So the figure shows the cross section of the animal cell. So in a green color, we can see there is a a plasma membrane, outermost covering plasma membrane, then follows the Golgi complexes, then follows the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, then rough endoplasmic reticulum, and at the interior, the yellow color structure representing a nuclear membrane provided with a nuclear pore complexes or the nuclear pores on the entire surface of the nuclear envelope or a nuclear membrane, and then inside of which there is a nucleoplasm and centrally contains the nucleolus. So nucleus is a yellow colored structures in the figure, and this is having the well defined nuclear membrane enclosing the nuclear material or the nucleoplasm, containing different type of RNAs or proteins or enzymes, even amino acids or the nucleolus, ribosomes, whatever the components which are essential for the process of uh, protein synthesis that are contained into the nucleoplasm. So that are then exported to the outside into the cytoplasm for the process of protein synthesis, which are then used by the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So the figure shows the prokaryotic cell, that is bacterial cell, on right side, and on the left side there is a animal cell in a cross section representing the structure, that is a nucleus, then rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complexes, then secretory granules or the vesicles, lysosomes, mitochondria. These are the various cell organelles present in the cytoplasm, and to the exterior there is a membrane covering called as a plasma membrane. So these are the two figures representing prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, that is animal cell and the bacterial cell E. coli. Then this slide shows the two type of cells which are also the eukaryotic type of cells, or the examples of the eukaryotic cells, and are animal cell and plant cells. So in animal cell we can see the outermost covering, somewhat the brownish colored figure representing the animal cell, having a plasma membrane or the cell membrane present to the exterior, to the or to the outside, and that will enclose the number of components of the uh, animal cell, such as cytoplasm, and cytoplasm containing number of cell organelles such as the pinocytic vesicles, lysosomes, Golgi vesicles or the Golgi bodies, then rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, then the microtubules or ribosomes, then centrioles. These are two cylindrical structures called as centrioles. Then nucleus with the nucleolus, then Golgi apparatus, mitochondria. So these are the various components or the structural elements of the cytoplasm of the animal cells, representing cytoplasmic structures or cell organelles, membrane bound structures, or even membraneless structures like ribosomes are also found in the cytoplasm. Even the cytoplasmic matrix containing dissolved substances, various type of materials, or that is salts or minerals or the vitamins, whatever the components that are brought into the cell cytoplasm through the semi-permeable membrane, plasma membrane. So there may be uh, exocytosis or endocytosis like processes can also occur with the help of different type of vesicles, that is pinocytic vesicles or the phagocytic vesicles. So with various liquid or solid components can be carried or transported, imported or exported from the cells to the outside, or to the into the tissue fluid or into the adjacent cells. Then another figure representing a green color cell, plant cell, which is also having again a outermost membrane covering, green colored, dark green colored component present to the exterior of the plant cell in the form of cell wall composed of cellulose, then follows inside cell membrane or the plasma membrane, and then again a cytoplasm and the cytoplasmic organelles. But in case of plant cell, there is a addition of chloroplast. There is a addition of chloroplast in the cell organelles. So it is also containing the cell wall, plasma membrane, then Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus, chloroplast, then large sized vacuoles. Vacuoles with a much larger size found in the cytoplasm of the plant cells, and that's why there is an increase in a size of plant cell due to presence of a large sized vacuoles in the cytoplasm. Then the vacuoles containing Druze crystal or rapid crystals, then cytoplasm containing mitochondria in the cytoplasm, amyloplast, that is starch grains or granules, then large central vacuole, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, nucleolus in a nucleus, then ribosomes, then Golgi vesicles. So these are again similar components or cytoplasmic contents in the form of cell inclusions or the cell organelles or substructures also present in the plant cells. So this is about the a general plan or the general organization of the different type of cells, that is plant cells, animal cells, or the bacterial cell, that is representing the example of the prokaryotic cell, and these two examples, that is animal cell and plant cell, that is eukaryotic cells. So these are the different type of cells, prokaryotic or eukaryotic cells, and their examples. Then we'll explain regarding the size of the cells. Size. So animal cells are generally smaller than plant cells. Animal cells are generally smaller than plant cells. Animal cells ranging from 10 to 30 micrometers in a length. Animal cells having size ranging from 10 to 30 micron or micrometer in a length, while plant cells are ranging from 10 to 100 micrometers in a length. Means the size of the animal cells is a smaller and plant cells are larger in a size. Then shape. Animal cells having various sizes and tend to have a round or irregular shapes. But plant cells are more similar in size and are typically rectangular or the cuboidal in a shape. So animal cells are usually round or irregular in shape, but plant cells are having shape of a rectangle or a cube or a square. So shape of the animal cells is either round or irregular, and plant cells are either cuboidal or rectangular or square like. Then energy storage. Animal cells store energy in the form of complex carbohydrates, that is glycogen. Animal cells stores energy in the form of energy rich component or the compound, a complex carbohydrate, that is a glycogen. Plant cells are having the energy storage in the form of starch, that is also a carbohydrate. Starch is also a carbohydrate but found among only plants. So animal cells containing glycogen and plant cells containing starch as a energy rich compounds. Then proteins of 20 different amino acids needed to produce the proteins. So proteins, these are also the energy rich compound and which are composed of 20 different amino acids and which are having a definite sequence in the different proteins. Only 10 amino acids can be produced naturally in the animal cells. Only 10 amino acids can be produced naturally in the animal cells. Rest of the 10 amino acids are supplied through the diet or the food. The other so-called essential amino acids must be acquired through the diet. So the diet or the food will supply the essential amino acids, which are about 10 in number, and 10 amino acids can be produced in the animal cells naturally. Plant cells are capable of synthesizing all the 20 amino acids. So plant cells can produce all the 20 amino acids uh, in the cytoplasm themselves. Then differentiation. In animal cells, only stem cells are capable of converting to other cell types. Differentiation means whatever the parental cells or the original cells of the living organisms which are having ability of its differentiation into other types. So whatever the basic cells that are in the form of seeds or the gametes among the plants and animals, that is gamete cells or the seeds of the plants or the gametes as in case of animals having ability or capacity of differentiation. So in the initial phase of the development among the animals, the gametes or the zygote will produce the similar type of cleavage cells during the embryonic development or the cleavage, and in a later phase of development, that is blastulation or gastrulation, there is a differentiation of the cleavage cells into different type of cells as uh, as per the tissues, different type of tissues or different type of cells which are produced by the stem cells. So in animal cells, there are stem cells or the embryonic cells. Embryonic cells are also called as stem cells, and which are capable of uh, its differentiation into other cell types, that is muscle cells, epithelial cells, or the connective tissue cells, bone cells, nerve cells, etc. Most plant cell types are capable of differentiation. So most of the plant cells, they can differentiate into other type of cells. Then growth. Animal cells increase in a size by increasing in a cell numbers. So animal cells increase in a size by increasing the cell number, that is by multiplication through the process of mitosis. So animal cells increasing in its number through the process of mitotic division or cell division, that is mitosis, but plant cells mainly increase cell size by becoming larger, and they grow by absorbing more quantity of water in the central vacuole. So in case of plant cells, cell size increase by getting or by absorbing the water in the cytoplasm, and that will be stored into the vacuoles. So ultimately the size of the vacuole get increased in the cytoplasm of the plant cells. So this will lead to ultimate increase in a size of the plant cells. But in case of animal cells, the number of cells increase by the process of mitosis. So this is actual mechanism happening during the growth in the animals and the plants. Then cell wall. Animal cells do not have cell wall. Already we have explained most of the things, but we'll explain them again. So cell wall. Animal cells do not have a cell wall. So cell wall is present only in the plant cells or in the prokaryotic cell or bacterial cell. So animal cells do not have a cell wall but have a cell membrane. Animal cells have a plasma membrane or a cell membrane, but plant cells are having cell wall as well as a plasma membrane or the cell membrane. And the similar pattern is also found among the prokaryotic cell or the bacterial cells also. Plant cells have a cell wall composed of cellulose as well as a cell membrane. And same is also present in the bacterial cells also. Centrioles. Animal cells contain these cylindrical structures. Animal cells contain these cylindrical structures or the paired centrioles that organize the assembly of the microtubules during the cell division. So, during the process of mitosis or during the process of cell division, the spindle fiber attachment, so formation of microtubules or the aster formation at the two poles of the cells uh, during the anaphase and telophase. During anaphase and telophase, there is a formation of spindle fiber attachment, and which is occurring only due to presence of centrioles in the animal cells. So animal cells containing these cylindrical structures or the centromeres, or centrioles, not centromeres, centrioles. Animal cells containing these cylindrical structures or the centrioles or a pair of centriole situated close to the nuclear membrane of the nucleus, which then moves to the opposite pole and then to the uh, opposite poles of the cells during the process of mitosis, that is just next to the metaphase, that is anaphase and telophase. During anaphase and telophase phase, there is a formation of spindle fiber attachment. So these spindle fibers are the microtubules which are extending from the aster or the centrioles, which have migrated to the north and south poles of the cells. So from where there extends the microtubules and which get attached with the centromeres of the chromosomes, which get attached to the centromeres of the chromosomes so as to pull them away from the equator line during the metaphase and anaphase. So the formation of spindle fiber attachment or the microtubules during cell division will occur only due to presence of centrioles. If there are no centrioles, if there are no centrioles present in the cell, cell cannot divide. Cell cannot divide. So it is very important that cell cytoplasm or the cell should have the centrioles. If the centrioles are absent in the cell cannot divide into two daughter cells, or cells cannot undergo the process of cell division or the mitosis or meiosis. So animal cells contain these cylindrical structures and that organize the assembly or the formation of microtubules or the spindle fiber attachment during the cell division. Plant cells do not have centrioles. Plant cells do not have typically or a typical structure of the centrioles. Then cilia. Cilia are found in animal cells but not usually in plant cells. Cilia are microtubules that helps in a cellular locomotion. So cilia or a pilus or a flagellum like structures, these are the components present in the cells and are useful for the locomotion of the or the movement of the cells. So cilia are found in animal cells but not usually in plant cells, and cilia are the microtubules that helps in a cellular locomotion or the movements, as in case of cilia of the paramecium, which are the locomotory organs. So similar structures are also found among the bacterial cells or even certain other animal cells. Then cytokinesis. Cytokinesis, that is a division of cytoplasm. The division of the cytoplasm during the cell division, and this occurs in animal cells. Cytokinesis, that is a division of the cytoplasm during the process of cell division or the mitosis, occurs in animal cells. And when a cleavage furrow pass inward or deepens from the cell membrane to the interior of the cytoplasm at about half of the or the middle of the cell or middle of the cytoplasm. In plant cell cytokinesis, there is a cell plate which is constructed that divides the cell. So during cytokinesis in the plant cell, there is a formation of cell plate. During the cytokinesis in the plant cells, there is a formation of cell plate. But in case of animal cells, there is a cleavage furrow or a division furrow through the middle of the cells or through the middle of cytoplasm, passes deep to the interior and then divides the cytoplasm, called as cytokinesis. So during the cell division, at first there is a nuclear division and then cytoplasmic division. So during the process of mitosis or meiosis, or during the process of cell division, the first event or the activity during the cell division is the nuclear division, that is a nuclear division or a karyokinesis. There is a nuclear division or the karyokinesis, and after which there is a cytokinesis or the cytoplasmic division. So nuclear division is then followed by a cytoplasmic division called as cytokinesis. Then glyoxysomes. These are the structures which are found only in the plants, not found in the animals. So glyoxysomes are the structures or the organelles present in the plant cells and are absent in the animal cells. So glyoxysomes are not found in the animal cells but are present in the plant cells. Glyoxysomes help to degrade lipids. The glyoxysomes are useful for degradation of the lipids, particularly in the germinating seeds, particularly in the germinating oil seeds like groundnut seeds or sunflower or soybean. So these are the seeds containing oils. So oil containing seeds, while germination, so as to supply the energy, so as to supply or so as to produce the energy, the oils are converted or the lipids are converted into the sugars, and this particular function is performed by the glyoxysomes. So glyoxysomes are present only in the oil containing seeds or germinating seeds where the lipids are transformed into the carbohydrates or the sugars so as to supply or so as to provide the energy during the germination of the seeds so as to develop into a new plant, or so as to growth or so as to development of the plant, so as to germination, so as to germinate the seeds and will result into the formation of seedling or a plant, young plant. So that will require energy. So this energy is supplied by the lipids. So oil containing seeds, while its germination needs energy, and that energy is supplied by the lipids. So these lipids which are present in the seeds that are transformed into the sugars or the carbohydrates by means of the glyoxysome. So glyoxysomes are important in transformation of the lipids into the sugars in the germinating seeds, and these are thus only present in the plant cells. So animal cells lacks in glyoxysomes. Lysosomes. Animal cells possesses lysosomes which contain enzymes or the hydrolytic enzymes that digest cellular macromolecules or undesired substances or toxins or the waste. Plant cells rarely contain lysosomes as the plant vacuoles handles molecular degradation. So the function of lysosome in plants is performed by the vacuoles. So vacuoles are rarely present, lysosomes are rarely present in the plant cells. Lysosomes are rarely present in the plant cells, or they are absent in the plant cells. So lysosomes are present only in the cytoplasm of animal cells. Lysosomes are present only in the animal cells and which are containing different enzymes which are useful for the digestion or hydrolysis of the cellular macromolecules or the undesired substances of the cytoplasm. So plant cells rarely contain lysosomes, or this particular function of the lysosome is performed by vacuoles in a plant cells. So degradation of the molecules occurring in the vacuoles in a plant cells, and that's why the plant cells rarely possessing the lysosomes. But lysosomes are mainly found among the animal cells, and that will perform the function of the digestion of the unwanted substances or cellular macromolecules of the cytoplasm of the animal cells. Then plastids. Animal cells do not have plastids or the chloroplast. So plant cells containing plastids such as chloroplast, which are useful or needed for the photosynthesis. So plastids are the chloroplast which are present only in the plant cells and are absent in the animal cells. Chloroplast is absent in animal cells. Chloroplast are present in plant cells which are useful for the process of photosynthesis. Then plasmodesmata. Animal cells do not have plasmodesmata or the channels or the canals or the perforations. So animal cells do not have the plasmodesmata. Plant cells have plasmodesmata, which are pores or the canals present between the plant cells or the present between the plant cells in a cell wall. So cell wall are having the plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata are present in the cell wall of the plant cells that allows the molecules to pass through or a communication signals to pass through these plasmodesmata between the individual cells or the adjacent plant cells. So plasmodesmata, these are the simply a canals or the perforations present on the cell wall and which are useful for the communication, for the use, for the transportation of the different biomolecules to pass through the plasmodesmata between the adjacent cells. So individual plant cells, between the individual plant cells or the adjacent plant cells, there are plasmodesmata which are present in the cell membrane or the cell wall of the plant cells and which is useful or which are useful, plasmodesmata are useful for the communication, cell communication or the transportation of the number of biomolecules between the adjacent plant cells. And lastly, the vacuoles. Animal cells may have many small vacuoles. Animal cells usually lack the vacuoles, and if are present, they are of very small size. Whenever the vacuoles present in the animal cells, they are very small in size. But usually the animal cells lack or there is absence of vacuoles in the animal cells. So animal cells may have many small vacuoles or may absent. Plant cells have large central vacuoles. Plant cells are having large sized vacuoles that can occupy about 90% of the cell's volume. So vacuoles in plant cells are much larger in size and that acquires or occupies about 70 to 90% volume of the plant cells. So vacuoles are present in the plant cells. Vacuoles are present in the plant cells but are absent in the animal cells. And if the vacuoles are present in the animal cells which are of very small size. So this is about the general organization. This is about the general organization of the cells. So with this, today we'll stop here and remaining part that will explain next time. Thank you.